Hello guys, today I'm gonna do a warning video, and this is not against my white audience, my male white audience, because I love them a lot as well too. I'm always gonna stand for all life matters, but I'm just talking about this part. I'm not talking about the white good people, I'm talking about the white bad people for the most part. And this is a video about warning Asian women like to be careful who they date and to be careful who they fall in love with as well too. To be careful who they let in their life for the most part, because there are some white men that will R-word Asian women, that will beat them, and that will treat them like slaves for the most part. And if you're an Asian woman and you're interested in white guys, and there's nothing wrong with that, but do be careful who you date, especially if he's an older man. Like, be careful for the most part. And just, yeah. And I still see it to this day. I still see it in my neighborhood. I live in a white and Asian neighborhood for the most part, and sometimes Latinos and blacks. But I still see a lot of Asian girls with like toxic white men that you could just tell they're toxic. I only saw once I think it was naive. I just feel like for some reason in New York there's not that the best representation of Asian and white couples for the most part, at least in New York. It might be different in other countries hopefully, but I see a lot of like toxic relationship with Asian women and white men for the most part, especially the white men being very like toxic and very aggressive towards Asian women for the most part. And the reason why I feel like Asian girls fall for this because they don't know what they're getting themselves into until they have children with them, until there's no way out for the most part. And this is book about this lady who basically was in the 90s and how she's suffering. I still think it's going on to this day. It's just like very quiet for the most part. And for the most part, and I think I'm just trying to warn my female Asian audience to be careful who they fall in love with, to be careful who they let in their life for the most part, to be careful who they fall in love with. And even the Asian men can be dangerous as well too. So, but especially white men, because there's something going on between white men and Asian women that's very satanic at the moment. That's very evil for the most part. And just be careful who you follow. And I recommend following someone closer to your age, because you follow someone who's older, they usually are racist for the most part. It tends to not to work, especially someone who's like 10 to 20 years older than you. It's just gonna end up very bad. But fall for someone who has respect for your culture as well too, who just not trying to make them into American culture as well too. If they're just thinking about their culture and they're just thinking about what they like, and only the American, which the American culture is a great culture, but still you should also respect your Asian culture, because the Asian culture is also a very great culture. But if they're just thinking about their culture, then that's a huge red flag. Trust me, ladies, you don't want to follow a guy like that for the most part. So just be careful, Asian women. Be careful who you fall in love with. Be careful who you let in your life. Be careful who you have children with. Be careful, even if you don't want children, let them know as well too. Just be careful who you let in your life for the most part. But I think that's so many reasons why there's a lot of like Asian women dating Hispanic men nowadays. Not saying I see it's starting to be more common in the dating for the most part. My girlfriend's Chinese American, and I'm Latino. I'm Portuguese and Italian, Sicilian, Latino. But I was born in New York, so I don't have the white privilege like most other people that was born in that place. But I consider myself a colored person because I wasn't born in the white world. Even if my DNA is mainly from those places, and because they don't look like your typical white, I'm gonna keep it real. They don't. But for the most part, I just want to say to my Asian viewers, my Asian female viewers, just be careful. Be careful with the German men, because some young men can be assholes too. So I think the best thing to do is probably date outsider men. Maybe dating Asian men, or dating Hopper men, or dating someone who doesn't have that weird mindset for the most part. And I think Asian and Hispanic is very good for the most part, especially nowadays for the most part. So if you're an Asian woman and you want to date outside your race, try Latino men. There's a lot of us that have trauma for the most part. There's a lot of us that been through stuff as well too, with our own race of people as well too. So we know what it's like to be in the middle and to be an outsider for the most part. We know what it's like to really stand out for the most part. So if you're an Asian woman, nine times of the time we like Asian women as well too. So don't listen to that stereotype that we only like Latinas for the most part. Nothing wrong with Latinos, but they're not my type. And just yeah, try to dating men that are respectful to your culture and they have their own identity with culture, but respectful to your culture the most. And yeah, And definitely look for a man that makes money, has a good job. Usually, if a Latino doesn't have a good job, he's usually a fuckboy. I don't have a good job, but I'm an exception to the rule. But try to go for a Latino that has a good job for the most part. Usually, I'm not fuckboys for the most part. So yeah, be careful, ladies, and God bless.